fuck, it's another fucking Patreon podcast. It's another one of these fucking things I gotta do. Oh boy, oh geez, oh Jiminy shittily figgity buggity wuggity, I gotta talk to you people, is what I would say if I didn't enjoy doing this. But sometimes this isn't always the top priority. As is this week, where I'm actually recording this a day late. As I've said before, if I can't get it done Friday night, I gotta do it on the Saturday. I gotta do it on the day of the set. And that was the case this week because I went to see Guardians of the Galaxy last night, and I got home at midnight. Enough energy to do a few things on the computer, but record and be entertaining for you people was not one of them. So we're doing this now, and this week has been a fucking mess. You probably have already heard a version of this story once or twice before by the time this comes out, but I got in a car accident this week on Thursday morning. I was driving to work after dropping my dogs off at the groomers, and I was on like the normal route I always take, and it was like stop and go traffic for a little bit, and the guy in front of me just stopped dead in the middle of the road. I had to kind of stop on a dime, but I didn't hit him. I stopped just behind him, and then about a split second later, some lady in a red Toyota rammed right into my rear section, pushed me into him, and pushed him into the guy in front of him. And I'm fine. A little bit of whiplash, but like no bruising, no broken bones, no anything like that. Like the glass in my car didn't break, the airbag didn't deploy, but the bumper is completely gone. The back of the car is generally smashed up. The front is fairly smashed up, and according to a few like gearhead buddies of mine, because here's the really hilarious thing about this accident. It happened in front of the Greenville Tech McKinney Automotive Center, which is not on the campus I usually work on, but is near it. And some guys from the landscaping staff that I know were there, and so they all came out and checked on me, and they're all gearheads, and obviously it's an automotive center, so they went and got some people inside to take a look at my car, and it's like, yeah, your radiator's fucked, your car's generally smashed up, you got a little bit of frame damage, the insurance is going to total this thing, so sorry. And I was pretty put out about it at the time, but like we spent most of the rest of that day, me and my mom, because my mom came and picked me up, we went into work as long as we had to just get basic shit done, which thank goodness it's the beginning of the summer, so there's not a lot that has to be done on a daily basis in our buildings right now. But we went into work just long enough to get the basic shit done both days, and then we spent the rest of those days running around to like the DMV, to insurance agencies, to doctors, to what's the word? Oh my gosh, what is it called? I'm trying to think of a thing. Credit union. That's what I was trying to think of. We went to a couple different credit unions to see about getting me a loan for a car. And we also had to go to the bank because there was an entirely separate issue that had been pre-established. Don't need to get into it. But we've been doing all that, and it's been a real hassle. Like when I gave my statement to the insurance of the person that hit me yesterday, I found out that apparently they haven't even talked to their insurance yet. And this was like a full 24 hours after the crash, which is pretty ridiculous in my opinion. Then you've got all this other stuff going on, and trying to get checked out by a doctor was annoying because the urgent care I went to said they couldn't look at me because it had to be under the insurance of the person that hit me, and I didn't have that information yet. So I ended up having to go to a CVS Minute Clinic, and they were able to see me no problem because I'm a state employee, so it's just $15 to get me looked at, and then they gave me some prescription pain pills, muscle relaxers, and I haven't taken those yet because I don't have them yet. My mom is actually going to be picking them up from the store later today for me, and just all of that has been like more so a hassle than like, oh god, I'm injured, I'm emotionally distressed, this kind of stuff. But it's just like, all right, my car is clearly going to have to be totaled out, I'm going to have to get a new one. So let's get that shit sorted, please. And it's gotten to the point where I don't know what's going to happen. Luckily, I was able to just talk to some people in different work departments, and my car is good sitting in that parking lot for a couple of weeks if it needs to. But it's still like, okay, we want to know what we're going to do with this thing, and we can't do that until the insurance tells us. So we're really just waiting for Geico, is this lady's insurance provider, to get back to us. And in the meantime, I need a car. So like I said, we went to some credit unions, we talked to them. Because of my credit card issues, I wasn't able to get approved for a loan. And so we were kind of thinking about what to do. And hey, Grandpa passed away recently. So we talked to them. We called my aunt and uncle, who are taking care of the estate, I should say. And we basically said, like, hey, have you decided what's happening to Grandpa's car yet? And they said no. And I said I'd be willing to buy it off of them. And they said, we'll just give it to you. And I'm like, are you sure about that? And they're like, yeah, it's what he would have wanted. So, whereas I was planning to not go because it didn't seem like a huge deal, I was gonna stay home this week. I was actually going to take bereavement leave off from work to get some extra stuff, get caught up on some like to-do list stuff this week. But now I'm gonna be going down to Florida with my mom and my sister to go to my grandfather's service, and also take ownership of his car and drive it back up here. And I also think if we can work it out, I got to talk to him tonight before recording Modular Components, but if we can work it out, I would like to hang out with Boingo Rider at some point during the weekend. But that's all still kind of in the air. The next couple of days are really going to be nailing down and preparing for that. I just got back from the Minute Clinic not too long ago, and now I'm waiting on my mom to pick up the meds, and like that is the last like dealing with this accident thing I can do right now. Now I'm recording this podcast, and after I export it, I am immediately going to have to launch into editing this week's video so that it can go up on time. It will hopefully be up Wednesday night, Thursday afternoon, just depending on what I've got going on, because we're going to drive down Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, and the service is going to be Thursday morning, so I don't know how all it's going to work, but hopefully I can just get the video edited and uploaded for you patrons tonight, and then I can just make it live when I get a minute at some point during the week. But that's kind of where all that is at right now. It's all very, very annoying because it's a lot I got to get done on short notice, and then tomorrow I got to prep for the trip, I got to pack, I got to make sure I've got all this stuff situated, and then got to prep for No Price Podcast and be ready to do that. And then on Monday I have to run a few errands to get ready, and then we have to do Twit, and after I get Twit up, I'm probably going to stay up a little later to get the modular shorts for the week edited and uploaded, and I'll also have to edit and upload 2 shorts for myself, I just remembered. because I'm almost out. So, lot to do. I am very busy, which is why I'm kind of not too put out about the fact that, yeah, the Star Wars video bombed. It hasn't even cracked 50 views yet as of this recording, which is, a little upsetting. I thought I could branch out more than I really could, I guess, but it's still a video that I've had on my mind for a really long time, and I got it out of my system, and in that way I can be happy about it. And one of you contacted me and told me you really enjoyed it when it went up for patrons, so that's good enough for me. At least right now, I'm gonna have to hope shit will pop off pretty well when I get back. But right now, it's a matter of it's just a matter of general survival. And while I would like to reshoot the last 2 videos of the month if I can find time over, obviously not this weekend or next weekend, but the weekend after, I have everything for this month shot. So it's kind of like it's just going to do what it's going to do, and I got to get it done. And in terms of that, haven't really watched a lot out of the ordinary this week because I've been so busy and because I've had a lot of other stuff going on. I actually full on decided I'm going to take a break from wrestling in general just because I'm so burnt out on it, and it all seems either bad, stupid, or petty right now. Like, I saw there was a deletion on Rampage last night, and I was kind of tempted, but I don't have the energy to get invested in wrestling again right now. I'm too focused on life stuff and the channel and whatnot, and it's all like something's got to give, It's one of those kind of situations. I did, however, take time out of my week to watch Star Trek Picard Season 3, because the Red Letter Media guys liked it, and I had said years and years ago that the new Paramount Plus Trek wasn't for me, but I really trust, when it comes to Star Trek, I disagree with them on some other stuff, but I really trust Mike and Rich's opinions. So if they ever say that there's a Paramount Plus Trek thing that's really good, I will check it out. And they reviewed all of Picard Season 3 in 3 episode batches, and they spoiled a lot of it, but they said it was really good. And I wasn't going in not expecting spoilers from them. But I said, okay, gotta stick to my word. They said it was good, let's give it a look, and it was really good. It's not the best Star Trek thing I've ever seen, but it's the closest to a classic Star Trek feel I've seen in a really long time. Star Trek Beyond was basically the last time I watched something that actually felt like Star Trek. I don't think Picard Season 3 is as good as Beyond, but it's a really good final send-off for that Next Generation cast that sets up, that could set up some other really interesting stuff, because I think there's rumors of a show called Star Trek Legacy that would follow the Enterprise G, but they haven't confirmed it yet, and with the writer's strike happening, who knows, but I would really be interested in that if they can get the same creative forces behind Picard Season 3 on it, because it was a different executive producer and writer from the first 2 seasons, and apparently he wanted to bring in a big classic Star Trek movie feel, TOS cast movie feel, because the TNG movies, I like them more than most people, I think, but they aren't great. First Contact, I acknowledge it's not the best movie, but I really enjoy it. Insurrection is kind of terrible. What's the Shinzon one? I forget. But that movie is really depressing. And Generations, it's okay. It's not as stupid as people say it is, I think, but it's not great either. And it's got a bunch of weird technical issues. But on the whole, Picard Season 3, because I only watched the first episode of the first season and then I didn't watch any more. But Picard Season 3 was really darn good, and I'm really happy they were able to make something that actually felt like a really good movie with the TNG cast that gives them a final send-off and leaves them in a place that feels as good and logical for those characters as the end of All Good Things did. So yeah, that's kind of my week. That's kind of everything I got to say about this week. I could give you a Guardians review, but you'll probably hear that on No Prize sooner or later. I could talk about a few other little things that have been bothering me, but I really don't have time. It's already 1 p.m. I gotta get this video done before 8 o'clock. Holy fuck. Wish me luck, folks. I will talk to you in a week. Well, it is now the 19th, which means it's actually been 2 weeks since the last time I recorded for this podcast, and I have a good reason for that. I was in Florida when I would normally record, and I had no access to any of my recording equipment besides my cell phone. I believe I spoke a little bit in the last segment about having to go down for my grandfather's funeral and take possession of his car. And I mean, that whole thing was just a weird mix of emotions, because on the one hand, it's pretty melancholy, because it's my grandfather's funeral, but it's also a funeral, a death we knew was coming for a long time, as I've spoken about before, I'm sure. But it was also kind of like a fun go with my mom, my sister, and my nephew to see extended family we don't often get to see, kind of a thing. And it was also like, hey, I'm getting my butt pulled out of the fire to get this car that's actually nicer than the car that got totaled, which I really like my new car so far. It was a bit dirty, needed a good cleaning up when I first got to it, but otherwise it's really good. It handles better than my old car, seems to get better mileage than my old car, and just generally feels like a bit of a step up. So yeah, it's pretty good. And I mean, like, I think I posted photos of it on social media, and I said what make and model it is, but just for reference here, it's a 1998 Mercury Grand Marquis in like baby blue, and it's doing pretty good for me so far. Haven't gotten it registered in my name or insured yet, but it's still under my aunt and uncle's insurance until the end of next month, so it's not a huge concern, but I'll probably be getting it done pretty soon. The other thing is, though, like, then after the day after my grandfather's funeral, I drove over to Gainesville and hung out with Boingo Rider and Snowcone 83 for a day, and that was really nice getting to see them in person again. We went and saw Guardians, Boingo and I did, because he still hadn't seen it, and then we met up with Snowcone, we had dinner, we went to a cool comic shop. There's like a chain of comic shops in Florida now called Coliseum of Comics, and the Gainesville location at least is pretty nice. I found a newer Black Series and a newer Marvel Legends I've been after and hadn't seen anywhere yet, as well as I finally bought Spider-Man Life Story, which I read the first like 3 issues of as they were coming out, and then I dropped off of current comics for a while, and so I've never gone back and finished it. So hopefully I'll do that now that I actually own the damn thing in full. I got the extra edition that has the annual. So that was nice. We went and kind of bummed around to Walmart for a bit, but then Chris and I, Boingo and I, were under the impression that we were going to sleep at Snowcone's and I would drive him back in the morning before driving home. But it turned out his roommates weren't okay with having people stay over that night, so I had to drive Boingo home. And we started at like 10, 11 o'clock, and it was already raining pretty hard out, and by the time I got like halfway to his place, it was like I was in a fucking monsoon. It was the hardest rain I'd ever driven in, Like, genuinely, I could not see further than, like, the second reflector in front of me at some points. And there were a couple times where I seriously consider, like, I can't see anyone else on the road, but I'm driving way slower than you're probably supposed to on this road, and I'm kind of scared because I can barely see where I'm going, and I'm like relying on the GPS for dear life, and it's lost its signal for a few minutes a couple of times now. Maybe I should wake Boingo up just so he can be aware of it if we die. Like, genuinely, that was how scary that drive was. But we did get him back to his place, and at that point it was like 1 or 2 in the morning, and I was like, it's 4 hours back to where my mom and sister are at. And I would want to get up early and get an early start to start driving home, so it would not be worth it to me to drive back to them. So I just slept in the back of my new car in Boingo's driveway. Because his house is a mess and there was nowhere for me to sleep, and I wasn't going to impose on him like that. And I also wouldn't want to have the awkwardness of getting up and feeling like I have to say goodbye to him before I leave. I can't just get up and go. So I slept for like 4 or 5 hours, and then got up at like 5 a.m., drove to the nearest gas station, like washed my face and hair a little bit, had some breakfast, and then immediately got on the highway. And it was a 7-hour drive home, which not the worst drive I've ever had, but it was certainly rough considering I was on a lot of roads I hadn't taken before. Even when I went to the Modular Summit, there were some new to me roads this time around. And I was in a brand new car that I was still getting used to, and I didn't have much sleep. So, all in all, the trip was just a bit of an ordeal. But I'm glad I went and did it, because it was a mostly good time, and it was good to like get some time with my family and kind of remember my grandpa and the kind of guy he was. And I even got a nice little moment where, like, right after the funeral, my cousin and his son were gonna go to a card shop before going to the reception, and I was like, what the hell, I haven't hung out with you guys alone before, and I didn't even know there were solo card shops anymore. So I went to this place, and it was neat to see how that kind of economy operated, and like see what, I guess my second cousin is what that kid would be technically referred to. He's the kid who I called my little cousin in the Star Wars video. And he's like, he's still really into Star Wars, but he's also really big into Pokemon cards now. And we were kind of talking about that and comparing like my childhood experience with Pokemon cards to his current experience. And there were also some vintage toys in there. Nothing I wanted, but like some stuff that was neat to see. There were some carded original Masters of the Universe figures and a friggin' Lost Galaxy Torozord. Never seen one of those in person, so it was really cool to get a look at that. But a lot of like Beast Wars Transmetals too, randomly. Clearly just like this guy had bought this stuff because somebody didn't know where to take it, and he was just trying to help him out. Kind of a collection of things for sale is the best way I could put that. But, you know, it was a nice little time, and then I got back and got unloaded and everything, and realized that, we're out of milk because our milk went bad while we were gone. So I guess I better run to the store, and I opened the door, and there's this stray cat that my mom and I have been feeding on and off pretty much since the start of the year, and she's gotten to the point where when you open the door of the house, she's just sitting right there waiting for you to come out, and then she'll just meow, and it's like, okay, you want food, give me a second. This was one of those instances, and I said, oh, okay, I got no problem turning back and grabbing a scoop of food for you. And then as I'm turning, I see at the edge of the porch 5 little sets of eyeballs staring up at me like, what the hell is that thing? Because apparently Not while we were gone, because they're old enough that it would have happened like probably a month ago. But this stray cat decided she liked us enough and trusted us to keep feeding her enough that she went and had a litter of 5 kittens under our porch. So then it was, okay, I guess I'm going to go buy more cat food and treats and toys, because this is a bunch of feral kittens that we're going to have to ingratiate into ourselves and get to a shelter probably. So I spent I went to the store, came back, and then spent like the next couple hours keeping track of them. And I was debating, like, do I call my mom? Do I text her? What do I do? And I ultimately decided I'd wait a day and see how it goes, because I wasn't even sure they were living under the porch at that point. But then when she got back into town the next day, I texted her and I said, hey, as soon as you're done dropping my sister off at her house and unloading all her luggage and you're heading home, let me know, call me. And as soon as she did, I was like, you're sure my sister's not near? Because my sister is a bit of an animal freak, and she always liked cats. She was always the driving force. We've had cats in the family before, and she was usually the driving force behind that. But my mom's allergic, and my sister also just had a baby, and she's got a 2-year-old. That's probably not, we don't want you guys anywhere near a bunch of feral kittens right now. So I was like, let's make sure my sister is not within earshot when I tell my mom this, because I don't even know how my mom's going to react given how long it's been since we've had a cat and the fact that she's still allergic. She never aged out of it. And I just said, okay, so you know that stray cat we've been feeding and how we weren't really sure if it was a boy or a girl, but we were thinking it was a girl? Well, I'm pretty sure it's a girl now. And my mom's like, okay, why? And I just went, because it had 5 kittens, and they're on the porch right now. And so that kind of kicked off. We have been basically taking turns trying to ingratiate ourselves to the mom and these kittens more, because it had been like every other day or so, or maybe once a day, we'd see the cat and we'd feed it, and maybe we'd pet it a little bit, but we weren't sure how used to humans it was, so we'd leave it be. But now it's like, okay, there's like venomous snakes and owls and raccoons and shit in the woods behind our house. So these cats could be in danger if somebody doesn't take care of them. So we're going to feed this cat and her kittens regularly. We're going to set up a nice bed for them on the porch, so hopefully they'll start sleeping on the actual porch. And we're going to try and handle them as much as we can to get them used to people, and we're going to get them to a shelter, because I can't fucking take on a cat and her entire litter of kittens permanently right now. My life is just too busy for that these days, and my mom is the same, not to mention the fact that she's allergic. But I can't just ignore this, so we're going to currently, what we have set up is, because my mom and I leave for work at different times, she feeds the cat a little bit before she leaves for work, and I do the same, and then we feed it each when we get back, because it's still nursing, so it needs to eat as much as it can, and the kittens need to start getting used to eating cat food. And we actually just tonight set up a cage, and we put on top and inside of it a bunch of towels that we had been using as kind of like a bed, as well as the cat toys and some treats. So like they would be inclined to go in there, and we're going to like give it a couple of days with the food on the outside, and then we're going to start putting the actual cat food bowl that we've been using inside the cage, and we're hoping eventually we can just get them all in that cage, and then we would like to bring them inside and start keeping them in my nephew's bedroom, the guest bedroom, kind of a thing, until we can take them to the local pet shelter, because we have an appointment to do that, but they are so backed up and full right now that it won't be for another month, which is annoying because it's like this is a problem now, but it's also kind of a blessing because it gives us hopefully enough time to get all the kittens used to people, because right now the mom is really used to people, and we're pretty sure that she was either a cat that got out and never found her way home, or she was abandoned. Somebody just dropped her off out here, because she was skittish of us at first, and she still kinda is sometimes, but she will full on come up and like expect you to scratch her ears and rub her back and let you rub up her tail and scritch all around, and she'll start purring up a storm. And like yesterday she even like full on lied down and showed me her belly and was like, will you rub my belly? And I've never had a cat do that, because I am not a cat person. I'm definitively a dog person. I like cats. It's nice to hang out with them when they want to hang out with you, but cats are animals that are very much like, I don't want to do stuff unless I want to do stuff, whereas dogs are always up for whatever, as long as you amp them up a bit. But cats will sometimes be just flat out like, no, I don't want to hang out right now, fuck off, or I'm gonna scratch you. And so like I've never really been super inclined to have a cat, but cats are, I gotta admit, cats are cute. I like the feel of their fur, and they're pretty nice to be around when they want to be around you. So it's been like a nice kind of exciting change of pace to get to pet the mom to that degree, but getting the kittens used to, at least me, has been a real pain in the ass, because my mom has gotten to, because like I said, there's 5. There is a jet black one, there is a grayish white one, there's one that's kind of like all speckled and all different colors like the mom is, and there's 2 calico ones. My mom has gotten to hold the white one and jet black one, and the white one is just kind of fine with whatever, but the jet black one was kind of throwing a fit with her the whole time. I got to hold, I think I've held each of the calicos independently, because that first day, I was like, okay, let me look at one of these kittens and see if they're okay, and I kind of roughly grabbed the calico, and of course it was not happy about that at all, but I checked it over, I made sure, like, okay, no bugs, no, like, injuries or anything like that, this is a perfectly fine little kitten, and you're still hissing and trying to scratch me, so I'm just gonna put you down now. And then, like, a few days later, I went with a towel, because I read online, you envelop the kitten in a towel, it will kind of calm down more. So I kind of tried to sneak around the side of the house instead of coming out for the door, because I noticed the kittens were scurrying away whenever I came out the door. And I did manage to ambush them, but then it was like, oh shit, this guy's trying to grab us, we're all really scared and we're all on the offensive, and like I had to throw the towel over one of the calicos like a net and kind of scoop it up, and even then it was still throwing a fit the whole time I did that. But I think I've handled both of them now. It might have been the same one both times, but I think it was the different ones. And then since then I've kind of backed off, because I'm pretty sure they're all okay now, just judging by the 2 calicos. And then it was just going out, feeding, being nice to the mom, and hoping the kittens would come up to the food bowl and let me pet them while they eat. And finally last night that did happen with the white one. She came up, and she was very cautious approaching me for a bit, but eventually she came up and started eating, and I pet her for a bit, and then I picked her up and kind of looked her over, and then I set her back down and I pet her for a bit, and just kind of blabber, rinse, repeat with that for a while, and figured out like, okay, that one's a girl. And right now we're kind of like, we don't want to get attached to these things because we are going to take them to the shelter, but for convenience sake, we are kind of like thinking of names. So right now we're calling the mom Helen. I don't know why, she just looks like a Helen. And the white one I'm calling Yue, after the Avatar: The Last Airbender character. And depending on the gender, I'm I'm probably gonna call the black one either T'Challa or Shuri, because obvious reasons. I'm not sure what we're gonna call the Calicos, but I think one of them should probably be Julius, because that's fun. But yeah, that has been like a whole thing that's kind of taken up a lot of my mental faculties, because it's like it's a I'm very concerned kind of thing. It's an unexpected thing, but it's also like a nice new thing that like I like cats, and I haven't messed with a cat in a good long time. So having a litter of kittens suddenly on my hands is kind of exciting. What is also kind of exciting, though, is a few days after I got back, I got paid by the insurance company of the person who hit me. And it's not like a ton of money, but it's a fair bit. What I would call a good settlement. I feel very good about the money I got, because it's basically 3 months' salary for me. And I am trying very hard to be smart with it while also putting it to good use. I immediately put $500 on each of my credit cards, just kind of getting them paid down more. I'm gonna be putting $500 in my credit union savings account on Monday. And I helped my mom get caught up on the internet bill, and I'm probably going to help her get caught up on the rent, because we're a little bit behind on it, but it's not like a huge deal because our landlords are generally nice people who have been very gracious and understanding throughout like all the stupid bullshit that's happened with my family since we moved into this house, and some of which was pre-existing. But we want to get caught up on it, so we'll probably do that when rent comes due at the end of the month. And of course, a fair bit of that is, or at least a little bit of it, I'm not sure, because this is all still fairly new to me. I've got to get the new car registered in my name, which I'll be doing on Monday, and then the following weekend I'll be getting it insured under my name. I'm going to get my own car insurance policy, because my previous car, my first car, was insured under my parents' policy, and I was just kind of paying them my chunk of the bill for the car insurance. But my mom's like, no, we're not doing that again. You're getting your own car insurance. You need to learn this. And true, it is past time I did that, but also like I don't know how that's gonna work out. So trying to be fairly smart with this money, and not like blow it all on like, I mean, come on, what else would I blow it on? I'm trying not to blow it on toys. And that has been like a consistent thing, because the thought every day since I got this money, the thought has popped into my head, you could just go buy Mezco Superman right now. It wouldn't be all the money. It would just be a little bit. It would just, you really want that figure, don't you? You should just go buy it. And like, then the logic big boy part of my brain has to come in and go, no, I mean, maybe, but like, let's wait until the day before payday, just in case something else comes up before then. So that's kind of where I'm at right now with that. And also I got a letter today from the insurance adjuster saying like I need to do a final interview, even though I thought the claim was resolved. So that's probably something I'll do on Monday as well. But for the most part, just got a few little things to nip in the bud, and then the car crash saga of 2023 is behind us, thankfully. So I've been going for 20 minutes here. Let's talk about some video stuff. The Kamen Rider adaptation video did pretty good. Not as well as I expected. I figured it would get roughly 500 views. I think it's gotten like 350, somewhere in that neighborhood. Let me bring up my YouTube studio real quick here while I'm talking to ya about stuff. Yeah, it's at 354 as of this recording, which is pretty good for that video. Though I was expecting like a 500, so it's like, yeah, that's good. That's way better than the Star Wars video did, but it's still not what I would like to be my average right now, or what I feel like should be my average right now. But that video came out pretty well, had a fairly active comments section with some good stuff and some stupid stuff. Somebody, like, the most recent comment is literally somebody going like, but there's lots of people who want to see another Kamen Rider adaptation and are coming up with that. And it's like, yeah, motherfucker, did you watch the video? That's why I made the video. I think those people are idiots and they need to fucking stop. I know they exist. I don't like that they exist. Otherwise, I wouldn't have made the fucking video. Oh, love comments. They're the best. There were some good comments on that video. Just like that has been gnawing at me since that comment was left a few days ago. But then conversely, the Dual Powerbomb video did pretty much as expected. It hasn't broken 200 views, which honestly I expected it to do about as well as the Star Wars video did. So it's doing better than expected, but it's still not like getting up there. It's got a fair amount of likes, but it's like just below 200 views right now, which is a little below my current average, I guess you could say. You know, it was just a little one for me. Just a little one that, like, hey, people who would be willing to click on this, you should check out this comic. And I actually had to cut a fair bit out of that one because I ended up talking about some spoilery stuff because I guess I just forgot while shooting that video that I wanted it to be like a recommendation video. Like, I talk about the last issue for 5 minutes. And while I was doing the initial pass of the edit, I was like, yeah, whatever, it's fine, let's get a panel of God and blah, 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 blah. And then while I was, like, doing the second pass, I was like, wait, what the... I literally said, like, a minute ago in this video that I'm not going to go into too many spoilers because I want people to check out this book, just on the merits of me saying it's really good for general reasons. And then I full on, like, talk about the last issue. This has to go. That's interesting. I haven't had to do that with a video before, but ultimately, pretty solid 2 weeks of content, I'd say. However, not a good couple weeks of taking in content because due to the trip, I've been very sporadic with stuff. You'll know from my other podcasts and stuff, I got behind on reading new comics, and we actually weren't able to do a no prize this week because of that, or last week, I guess you could say. Depends on how you view Sunday. But I was planning to watch all of Kamen Rider 1971 before Shin Kamen Rider has its US release. But then the trip kind of threw a monkey wrench in that, and what also threw a monkey wrench in that is I thought summer classes for my building start up at the start of next month. No, they start next week. So I had to do a lot more work this week than I was expecting to, and next week I'm going to have to basically go back to pretty much my normal routine, which means I'll be lucky if I make it to episode 50 by the time the Shin Kamen Rider release happens. Because that show is 98 episodes long, so we'll see how well that goes. And other than that, haven't really been taking a lot of new media in, or old media for that matter. I did decide that like now is the time to rip off the Band-Aid because The Flash is out in like a month. I'm going to watch all the Snyderverse content I've been avoiding. So I watched BBS Ultimate Edition finally, and that movie's still dog shit. Like the new scenes barely add anything. I almost didn't notice them, except for like, hey, isn't it oh yeah, this is a new scene. I remember like seeing a comparison video that just said what the new scenes are, and I think this is one of them. And then like I checked on an article a day later and I was right, for the most part. And like they don't change anything. It's still the same. Like that movie is frustrating for a lot of reasons, but like the general, if I could just sum up why I don't like it in like a tweet review, it would be, it's a movie that thinks it is dealing with the fact that the Snyder tone is generally dark and cynical, and saying like, well, the arrival of Superman sent a shockwave through this universe and made everybody dark and cynical for a minute, but now that he has died and we realize, like, oh, he was a good thing and we need to bring him back, and we need to bring all the heroes of this world together, we're going to get back to a hopeful place. We're starting the journey back to hopefulness. And in reality, it doesn't feel like that. There's so much in that movie that is just dark and dreary and sad and frustrating and depressing, and you never get to see these characters at like a happy moment. Like, if we had maybe got like a scene or something that showed that, like, at one point this Batman was a little more happy-go-lucky, or he was like a well-regarded part of Gotham City, but the whole movie is just like, yeah, he has been dragged down by years of being Batman. Jason Todd happened in this universe and it fucked him up, and his house burnt down, and he's still viewed as like an urban legend, and blah blah blah. What do you say, like 20 years in Gotham, and we've learned that good people are few and far between, and like, so that opening scene where he's driving for the climax of Man of Steel and trying to help his employees, it doesn't, like, the first time I saw it in the theater, it was effective. But then I saw the rest of the movie, and now knowing that the rest of the movie is coming, that scene just feels weird. It just feels like Snyder backpedaling and going like, no, the ridiculous amount of destruction at the end of Man of Steel was for a good reason. Look, see, I'm smart. And it's like, no, you're a dumbass. Fuck off. So, didn't really like that, and I doubt I'm going to like a lot of the rest of it, but I'm still going to watch it because I'm hopeful about the James Gunn, Peter Safran era, and now that I know it's coming, and like the Flash is gonna kind of be the end of the Snyderverse, beginning of the Gunverse, essentially. I want to see the Flash in theaters, and I want to see everything that came before it, so that like I can have full context for it and for all the new live action DC media going forward. Because like, even though it's not part of the universe, it's an Elseworld, I am going to watch Joker when I get to it in release order. So we'll see how I feel about that movie finally. And that's pretty much it. That's been the last 2 weeks. I'm surprised I was able to fit that into basically a half hour, but I'm actually probably going to get to bed fairly soon, even though it is a little early for me, because I got to get up early tomorrow because I'm going to go to the campus and I'm going to actually reshoot the next 2 weeks' videos, because I was looking at the raw footage the other day and I am just not happy with them. I also have to shoot a guest spot for a friend for one of his videos, and it's gonna rain tomorrow afternoon, so I want to get there in the morning and get them all shot and done, and also probably do some figure photography. So yeah, gotta get to it. It's gotta be done. So yeah, I'll see you guys in a week. And it is now the 26th. It is the final segment of this for this month, because, well, I could wait and do one next week, but I want this to come out every Friday night, or at least every period of nighttime between Friday and Saturday for me, because this probably won't actually be up on Patreon until after midnight, because I'm recording right at 11 o'clock, but whatever. It's been a busy week. It's been a fun week, but it's been a very busy week, and I'm actually really behind schedule on stuff. Obviously, this week's video just came out today. I had originally planned to have it up on Patreon like Sunday, Monday, and that just didn't work out because stuff kept coming up. And tonight I have to edit and upload and schedule all the shorts for my channel and Modular Media for the next week. I have to schedule out a bunch of figure photography that I shot in conjunction with the video this week. And I have to do this, obviously, and I've been doing a few other things. Like, I just finished updating the Modular subreddit not too long ago, because I'm the only one who seems to care to do that most weeks. But did have some fun. Did get a little bit wouldn't say crazy, but a little bit spend happy with all this money. I wasn't irresponsible. I did get the money. I did get a fair bit of money put on my credit cards and in my savings account, but I then went and I hit up my local Walmart, my local Target, my local vintage toy store, and I got quite a bit of stuff. And then over the last couple days, I've been going online and ordering a fair bit of stuff. Did shop around, got a couple deals here and there, but for the most part it was like, I've been avoiding this, hoping for a sale, pining after it for months and months. I'm going to go ahead and get it, or this is stuff that's come out over the last couple months and I've just been like, well, I'll get that when I can get it, but it's not top priority kind of stuff. Like I got Mezco Superman is on the way, I got a bunch of new diorama pieces, I got, what's something else I got that would be like, ooh, hey, he did that. And then, I spent some money on some stuff that would make me happy, and I did do some responsible spending as well. I helped my mom catch up on some bills. I got there was some other thing I did. I can't remember what it is now. Probably could have gotten like some kind of equipment upgrade, but I actually did look at stuff and I'm like, there's nothing I feel like I need right now. Like there's some stuff I could get that is like, yeah, that would bump things up a bit, but right now everything's okay and I'm kind of happy with the level it's at. It's really only like, stuff for figure photography or creature comforts that I could spend this money on right now if I'm gonna spend it right now. And of course I want to spend it right now because look, that's money, I want to spend it. Like I could have gotten a new desk chair because obviously this one does squeak a bit. I could have gotten a new mattress because my mattress is okay, but it definitely is developing sort of a sag spot in all of it. But those don't feel like immediate needs to me. My chair's still fine to sit in as long as you're not doing it for like 8 hours straight, and the bed is still fine to sleep in. I've never like woken up like, oh, I slept. Like I don't know what goes on with people where you like sleep wrong and you wake up and your back's all fucked up all the next day. That has never happened to me before. I fucked up my back doing stuff, but I've never like slept wrong and woken up and going like, oh, my back's all messed up because I slept wrong. I slept in the wrong position, or I got a bad mattress and my back is just inherently wrong now because of the way I slept. Like that's not a thing that happens to me, or at least it hasn't yet. So while I acknowledge I could probably stand to get a new mattress or a new desk chair, just chose not to do that. Chose to like do a ton of investing in my hobby. And obviously a ton of like, hey, in case another emergency like this happens in the future, let's set some money aside for that. And I feel pretty good about that. The only thing is like, there's going to be a lot of boxes showing up over the next week, and I know my mom's going to give me some side eye for that. But I've repeatedly stated to her, like, hey, I was smart with this. I didn't just, like, it looks like I went willy-nilly, but I really didn't. I made sure to cover my bases first. About the only thing I haven't done yet that I probably should have done first is get the new car insured and registered. But I was going to do that first. I had planned to actually do that last week. I might have talked about it in the last segment, I'm not sure. But I just ended up getting turned around because I thought like, oh, you register it first, then you insure it. And then we were reading up on it online the night before, and it turns out, nope, you insure it first, then you register it. And then the next day, BBTS, Big Bad Toy Store, had a one-day sale with a bunch of stuff that I was like, ooh, I can use that for things, or I've been wanting that for a while. And so I was like, well, let's go ahead and just push, because the car is insured. It's registered as my grandpa's and insured under my aunt and uncle's insurance until the end of June. Let's just go ahead and push it back to the start of June. That's when I'll go get it insured and get it registered. And right now, I'll spend the fun money and it'll be okay. I may not have any fun money in June besides what I need to get that done and get tickets to all the fucking movies that are coming out in June. But other than that, it's not the end of the world. It's just gonna be like, okay, this was a very fun week. And then next week, it's time to tighten the belt, put the big boy pants back on, and I am perfectly fine with that. I've been doing that for like 2.5 years now. One fun week isn't gonna ruin that forever. I learned that with the Modular Summit, which I had to save up for that for months. This just kind of dropped into my lap, and we're gonna see how it goes. I mean, obviously I'm a slow opener, so all the stuff I bought over the last week, I'll probably be opening for like the next month and a half. I may not even need to buy toys for the next month and a half, though. When has not needing to buy toys ever stopped a collector from buying toys? Jesus. Let's talk about something other than fucking toys. Of course I say that, and then the next topic on the list is that just before, or rather the same day I went on that shopping spree, when I got back, I went ahead and reorganized my desk to better facilitate doing toy photography. Because it used to be that I would have to set aside a night and I would write down toy photography ideas as they came to me throughout the week, or when opening stuff, and then it would be like, all right, I have a night and I'm just going to shoot as much as I can, and I'm never going to get caught up on this list and blah blah blah. And then when I'm going out to shoot a video, I'll take whatever toys I can or are related to the one toy video for the month I'm making, and then I will just try and shoot I'll shoot the toy video last, and then with whatever time I have left after shooting that video before I have to go home, I'll shoot toy photography around the campus, because there's a lot of nice open kind of rocky outdoor spaces for shooting toy photography. And I mean, I've gotten some really good photos out of that, but it's also fairly nerve-wracking because I'm out in the open and I'm exposing my toys to the elements, and I'm under a bit of a time constraint, and then with doing that and doing the once or twice a month night of shooting indoor photography with my very limited diode set, inevitably stuff starts feeling samey and I start running out of stuff. Technically, I've been out of stuff the last couple of weeks, and I've just been posting hey, I got this, here's some quick thoughts on it, which I don't really like doing. It just doesn't look good on Instagram to me. There's some people who can make it look very good. There's people who do just hand pics of here's a photo, here's a toy posed up in my hand, here's just 10 different insane poses, and then some quick thoughts on that figure is the caption. And I admire people who are able to do that and make it look cool, because I just don't feel like I'm one of those people. My posts are alright, but they're not on that level. I need to put a fair bit of work into having a dio and getting accessories involved and posing around to get a photo that I feel like is good and has a lot of engagement. So I reorganized the desk to have a space set aside right next to me where a dio can be at all times. So throughout the night, it's just whenever I'm feeling a little worn out with whatever I'm doing, with whatever I'm in the middle of on the to-do list, just kind of swivel the chair and then take a couple of photos. Don't get caught up in it, don't make it take the whole night, but get a couple photos in. And then I'm going to set aside a day in the week where I will schedule those photos out. I actually want to look into later tonight. I've heard there are third-party applications for scheduling posts on Instagram, because for some reason, even though Facebook has an ability to schedule posts, you can't schedule posts on Instagram directly, or at least not anywhere I can see. So I'm going to try and figure that out, and I'm going to get all the photos I shot for the Star Wars review scheduled, and then hopefully it'll be every week there's a bunch of photos from dios in here, because I'm also getting a lot of the stuff I bought. The dio pieces were like, all right, let's get some dios where let's get some stuff to make dios that look like it's outside. You know, I got a big grass mat, I got a big nice just kind of general sky background, I got a bunch of aquarium fake plants, I got a couple of rock environment pieces for like a lizard terrarium, and I ordered like a custom made, handmade, but not like I asked them to make this, like it was in somebody's shop and I bought it, but like from the same person who's made my warehouse and my alley diorama that I've been using for like a year now. I bought this sort of rocky floor piece that can kind of work like sort of up in the mountains, like I've been using the rocky areas of the campus as. So now I don't have to go out and shoot photos, and I also don't have to like remember that I need specific shots of things for the toy video, because that was part of the problem. You know, I told you guys earlier on that the first time I shot this month's videos, I ended up having to rush the last couple, and then ended up reshooting them because of weather, and I had to leave because of an emergency, and there was no photography. And I remember specifically I was like, well, I want that photo for this week's video, the Star Wars toy video, that is Obi-Wan holding the Jedi Starfighter, because I think that would be a good thumbnail, and I want a photo of one of those microfigs standing next to a Titan Master to show like there's a lot more paint and sculpt work in this than what Hasbro will put into a figure that's almost twice that size. And I didn't get those photos initially, and I had to go back and essentially completely reshoot that video because I didn't like how rushed I was being in the original take, and I didn't like how much it came out, or I didn't like the fact that I didn't have those photos. But now it's like I may feel the need to reshoot the video so it's not as rushed, but I don't have to worry about getting specific photos. I don't have to worry about getting photos at all. I can just bring the photos, the figures or the toys that I want to have in my hand for the video, and I can shoot the photos at any point while I'm editing it, because I can just have that dio of like a rocky area next to me, and I go like, oh, there should be a photo of this here, there should be a photo of this figure standing next to this figure for comparison's sake here. So just get those two figures out, put them in the dio, take a photo, put it on Google Drive or email it to myself, and then download it, throw it in the editor, boom, done, good. I think that's going to help me out a lot in the long run. And for the longest time, it was like, my desk there's this big dead space sort of half behind the monitors, half between that and my printer. And that is for like whatever toys I'm messing with right now. Then my printer is right next to me, and then there's tools and maybe some new toys that I'm just waiting to open behind the tools, and that wasn't really working for me. Now my toys are in that sort of, or my tools are sort of in that dead area where I can just reach over and grab them the same way I would rest my hand on my mouse. And then the dio is right where my printer used to be, because that's the other thing, is my fucking printer crapped out either just before or just after the trip. I remember I had to get something printed. I think it was right when we got back, and I had to go to Staples to do it. The printer, like the printer's been slowly crapping out for a while, but it just finally stopped working this week, which was slightly annoying. But it's another one of those things where it's been on the wall forever, so I can't get too bent out of shape about it. I can't get bent out of shape about the fact that I didn't just order a new one with that insurance money. I literally just realized as I was talking about this, that's something I probably could have put that towards maybe when I get my paycheck on Wednesday. I'll look at the budget, and if it's in it, I'll go ahead and order one instead of ordering toys next month. I'll do that to be responsible. There we go. But still, I don't even really need a printer, because it's I rarely have to print stuff, and it's fairly cheap. to print stuff at Staples, so I might just start doing that, but I definitely will buy a new scanner, because I still have a shit ton of family photos I need to scan in here, so probably buy a new scanner with this month's paycheck, and hopefully make some time to do that. But where the printer used to be, that's where the Dio is, and then next to that is like a dead space that can be for stuff I just have chilling out on the desk, or right now, sort of my queue of stuff to open is right next to the Dio. So I can get home, and I'm trying to make it my routine that after work I get home, and my way of unwinding is I'll turn on a movie or an episode of a show, and I'll eat dinner, and then I'll open a new toy if I have one. And then I'll start posing it around, and I'll get 4 photos of it for my toy collecting Fred for the year. And then hopefully that gets my brain kick-started to start doing toy photography periodically through the rest of the night, as I get to work and have occasional moments where I need a break from work. That's kind of the philosophy I'm going with now, and so far it's working okay. I'm coming out with like 5 to 6 photos a night, counting the ones for that Fred. And some of those will get reused, some of them won't, but you know, we'll see how it goes. And having the toy Fred initially have photos that aren't like, here's this toy chilling out on a desk that looks slightly messy or lifeless, and having the photos in the Fred being, here it is in a Dio, fully posed up, looking as good as I can make it look, it makes that Fred look a little bit better, I think. So overall, like, redoing the desk is helping out a lot with me as a toy hobbyist and as somebody who tries to show that for my content. But obviously that isn't the main thing you guys come to me for. The main thing you come to me for is the videos, which is why, you know, it's so great that I made a video about toys this month, because as I said, you know, there's only one month a year where if you don't normally talk about Star Wars, you can make Star Wars content. So we did the video on both Star Wars toy lines. I was just like, we're doing them both, it's fine. You know, after the initial Star Wars video, I was like, well, this will probably bomb, but we'll see. And it did fairly predictably bomb. It's only been up for like less than a day. It's been up since noon, so almost 12 hours now, but it's not looking great. So, you know, not too torn up about that. I did expect it. It's a little disheartening, especially because I put so much work into it to make sure like I hit all the pros and cons. But the only thing I didn't talk about in that I'm like, maybe I should have, is exclusives. The fact that both lines have a lot of exclusives right now, and it's kind of insane that like right out the gate, Micro Galaxy Squadron has almost as many exclusives per quarter as Black Series does, now that it's been going for over 10 years. But just bumped my Dio. But other than that, I like how it looks. I like most of the stuff I put in it. Maybe could have gotten a few more like specific photos that pertain to things I was talking about, but I think it came out all right. I think it's a good like proof of concept of me doing an overview of a toy line rather than here's this one toy and why it's cool. That being said, I probably won't do another video like that for a long time, just because I don't have anything else that like specifically I think I need to do that. I could do like a big, here's everything that's happened with the Lightning Collection since I did that video with Database, but like I don't know how much people would want to see that, and I don't even have a lot of those figures. You know, at the time I made that video with Database, I had almost every Lightning Collection figure that had been released. Now it's like I get 1 to 3 out of each wave. Like I'm almost complete on the monsters now, because I just bought Pirantis head and he's sitting next to me waiting to be opened, but I don't have Pudgy Pig yet. I want to get Minotaur, but I don't know if I'm going to. Mesogog, SPD Yellow, and 2 Z-Putties are on their way to me, but like I completely skipped that wave that had a ton of QC issues, even though I would really like to have figures of Izzy and Coda. And right now I'm like, I want to get Dino Thunder Black. I need to get Dino Thunder Black in order to complete one of my childhood teams. But he's not in stock anywhere, and I still don't trust pre-orders. So we're gonna sit and wait on that. And plus, you know, Sentai Figuarts is back, so I think a lot of my opinions on the line aren't as strong as they were back at a time when there weren't Sentai Figuarts. So I don't know. I may do like a specific video on like, hey, now that we have all of the main SPD team, here's my thoughts on each of them as figures and how they work together. Maybe I'll do that for Dino Thunder. I don't know, we'll have to see. It might be a thing later in the year. But no solid plans to cover Lightning Collection, and no real solid plans to do like an overview video on anything. It's more like, I definitely want to talk about this Transformers figure. I definitely would like to talk about G.I. Joe Classified series at some point. I'm just not sure what figure or figures to do it with yet. And I've been really getting into Mythic Legions, so I'd like to cover some of those. And, you know, Marvel Legends, big, massive, all-encompassing toy line. I've been talking about comics. Should probably do something about those eventually. At least, like, you know, there was a part of me that was like, oh, hey, maybe next week I should do, here's all of the Spider-Man figures I own. Like, here's the Renew Your Vows 2-pack, here's PS4 Miles, here's Into the Spider-Verse Gwen, here's Spider-Man. Just do them all in one shot. But to do that the way I want to do would be a fair amount of work. And also, like, by the time it comes out, hashtag Spider-Verse is going to have cooled off a fair bit. So I think it's a better idea to instead move into other stuff I'm going to be doing. So let's go ahead and start talking about like programming that is coming up on the channel. So obviously we have the Kamen Rider manga video. Now my plan, because I've been trying to get into the habit of editing the solo channel videos on Saturdays all month, it seems like I might be able to at least get started on that video tomorrow. So my plan is to have it up for you guys some point between tomorrow evening and Monday afternoon. And then it will go live for everybody else Wednesday afternoon, because it's the video. Like, it's not going to be a ton of, like, hey, Shin Kamen Rider this, Shin Kamen Rider that, but it is meant to very much be like, hey, Shin Kamen Rider's coming out today, let's talk about the Kamen Rider manga, because Anno said that's what mostly inspired his take. So, hopefully that'll be up soon. And then next month is going to be another month where I'm going to try really hard and ride some hashtags. So, for the first 2 weeks at least, the first week, obviously, I'm going to be riding hashtag Transformers, because Rise of the Beast comes out that Wednesday, actually, but I probably won't see it till Friday. And I'm going to be making a video not on a toy of any character that is appearing in Rise of the Beast, but the new legacy toy of Cybertron Override. Because I really loved that toy. It was my favorite Transformer of last year. And, you know, considering the context of that character and some things that have been going on with the Transformers brand in last month and some things that are going on in the world right now, I think I could say some very interesting opinions during that video. And I fully intend to. So, you know, just be ready for that. And then the week after, that Friday, is when the Flash movie, or the Flashpoint movie, or the Batman 1989 look Michael Keaton is here, also a version of Supergirl, please forget that this is a movie starring Ezra Miller, that's going to come out that Friday. So, because I did have the idea of, like, because I'm actually trying to catch up right now and watching all the DCEU movies I've been avoiding. I watched Batman v Superman, the Ultimate Cut, still shit, didn't fix anything. I watched Wonder Woman. It was alright. I watched Justice League. It was fine. The Whedon cut. I haven't watched the Snyder. I watched Aquaman last night. It was pretty good. And I was thinking I could do a video that's just like that. Just like, hey, here, quick, rapid thoughts, DC movies, before The Flash comes out. Yeah! But then I did the initial DCEU video, and it kind of bombed. And so now I'm like, let's not do another video like that, at least right now. But I can talk about, like, hey, I like The Flash, but I don't like that Flash. I'm a big Wally West guy. And I want to talk about just, like, why Wally West is a cool character and, like, some different interesting versions of him you could check out. And, like, hey, the most recent Flash run was about Wally West and did a lot of, like, not necessarily fan service, but, like, work to do things that fans had wanted for a long time, fix a lot of problems with Wally's existence and the DC universe at large. Like, the last issue of that run is literally like, oh hey, not only does Wally save his own newborn kid from Granny Goodness, but also he finds out that Mr. Terrific, Donna Troy, and Beast Boy's kids are all still alive, and Granny Goodness has just kidnapped them. Big old retcon just to say, like, these characters can have their kids back. Because there was no reason to take their kids away from them in the first place other than, this ages them. Which was really nice. So I'll make a video kind of talking about that kind of stuff, and then to follow that up, kind of counterbalance it, I would say, I'm going to make a video talking about the Ant-Man family, because I really like that family of characters at Marvel Comics, and I feel like they get really disserviced by the general public, especially whenever one of the movies comes out, because people go like, well, this isn't the most amazing Marvel movie ever, it's just kind of like a basic slice of life one, and it's like, yeah, motherfucker, that's Ant-Man. It does weird, kind of goofy stuff with the mythology, or it's just there being a slice of life. It's not trying to be the most amazing thing ever. And that's what kind of makes Ant-Man great. It's kind of the average Joe, but still with superpowers franchise in Marvel. And I want to talk about that. I want to recommend some books. And then to wrap it up, there will be a Tokusatsu video this month. I'm going to finally make a video I've been wanting to make for literal years since this show was airing. I'm going to make my ToQger video, which I have been wanting to make a ToQger video for ages, because everybody, at least when they first see ToQger, kind of misinterprets that season or series, however you want to view Sentai, and goes like, oh, well, this says it's all about, you know, the power of imagination and this, that, and that. Look how basic these suits are. Look at all these bland-ass, goofy-ass designs. Oh, this isn't very imaginative. And these characters are really silly and childish, and they're very annoying, and they suck, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you idiot. That's because they're all literal kids. And that gets revealed later in the show. And you would know that if you actually watched more than the first 10 episodes of a Sentai, you fucking dullard. Like, these shows are constructed as, now that we're so far into the franchise and we have like a block of episodes that you usually get bog standard for each season, we kind of know to expect, like most modern Toei shows and most modern Super Aya shows for that matter, it's going to be one solidly blocked out story with a beginning, middle, and end. So like, if it looks weird that this show about imagination isn't very imaginative and it's just very bright colors and silliness, there's probably a fucking reason for that. And the fucking reason for that is that these are a bunch of kids, and kids don't always have the most detailed or well thought out imagination. It can just be like, I like trains. I want to have a big red steam train. Also, a ToQger adaptation would work perfectly fine. Even now, when they've harvested a lot of those monster suits, I still think you could do it. because there's still a lot of great monster suits in there. Like, every monster of the week looks great. You could just make some of them the generals if you want. And, fuck you if you think trains won't sell over here, because I have a little nephew and he loves Thomas the Tank Engine as much as I did when I was a kid. And that's going to be the videos next month. That's pretty much everything there is to talk about this month. So, yeah, guys, thanks for hanging out with me for however long this has been. Thanks for tolerating any stupid bullshit that I've had happen throughout the month. Thank you for your continued support, and I hope you've been enjoying the content, and I hope I'll see you guys in June. But until then, take care, and remember, you never fail until you stop trying.